What's going on, everybody? It's Vaaraiant and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at another deck profile. This time is what I like to call the buff Terapagos. So starting off, we have 3 copies of Terapagos EX. That's our main and almost only attacker. We have something up our sleeves, but we will mostly attack with Terapagos because we will buff it up with the Bouffalant, but we'll get to that later. Then of course we have the Noctowl package with the Ditto as well. So starting off the Ditto, that allows us to transform into any Pokemon if it's in the active. 2 Fan Rotoms that will allow us to grab our Hootoots. We play 4 copies of Hootoots, 3 70 HP and 1 80 HP, but the choice is up to you, whatever your preference. Keep in mind that these have 2 retreat costs, so if you don't have Latias in play, they're a bit of a pain in the ass to move. Then, of course, 4 copies of Noctowl. We want to utilize all our 4 Hootoots in a match. That's how we get the most out of the deck. And then 3 copies of Bouffalant. That's why this deck is buff. So your basic colorless Pokemon take 60 HP less, which is pretty insane. Now, moving on, we have a little bit of a niche use. We have 1 copy of PG and 1 copy of Pidgeot EX. We're also playing only 1 copy of Rare Candy. We'll get to that just in a bit. So this is really a niche use based on what's in the prices. Then, as before mentioned, we have Latias EX, pretty standard inclusion. Lily's Clefairy, it's another attacker with Terapagos, and we can use Clefairy turn 2, turn 1 while going second, while we cannot use Terapagos. And 1 Munkidori as well, which is pretty nice because your Terapagoses will take many hits, so you can move the damage around. And then, of course, Pheasantibity, which helps with the draw. And then 1 Volcanion EX, same as in the Terapagos Charizard. You can use this to get the active Pokemon burn and then just retreat it into an attacker because Latias has free retreat. And one of our last attackers, well, the last attacker basically, is Blood Moon Ursaluna that helps you close out games. Now, moving on to the supporters, we play 2 copies of Iona. Only 2 copies because we fetch everything with Noctowls, and that's pretty much enough. 2 copies of Crispin, which is basically our main way of powering up our attackers. We also have something else up in our sleeve, but yeah, 2 Crispin is enough for the whole match. We have 2 copies of Boss Orders to just boss around and KO whatever we want. We play actually 1 Serrano, which is also a neat addition to this deck, which allows you to search up for 3 Pokemon EX and put them into your hand. And then we have 1 copy of Turo Scenario, so that you can maybe remove a damaged Terapagos from play, and 1 copy of Professor's Research because we can fetch it with Noctowls, and if we have an empty hand, or basically an empty hand, the Professor's Research is a nice way to draw many new cards. So, just as a quick intermezzo, I want to mention that I have memberships available on my channel. Yes, I have finally reached that milestone in the YouTube career. So, if you want to support the journey and of course earn some unique perks with it, make sure to check down below and become a member. Now, moving on to items, we're starting off with 2 Buddy Puffins to get our small Pokemon out. So maybe a Rotom and a Ditto, or Rotom and a Hoothoot at the beginning. We play 4 copies of Nest Ball because, well, we have a bunch of basic Pokemon that we want to get out in play, especially Terapagos and Bouffalants, so we grab those with the Nest Ball. And then we have 4 copies of Ultra Ball as well, which is our main way to search for the Noctowls, or maybe the Pidgeot EX as well, if we decide to play it in that turn. Then we have 1 copy of Rare Candy, which is pretty interesting. Only 1 copy, so we play 1 PG, 1 Pidgeot EX, and 1 Rare Candy. So you need to have all 3 in deck if you decide to use them. Otherwise, it's just a waste. Then you have 1 copy of Night Stretcher to grab some Pokemon back. 1 copy of Glass Trumpet to accelerate energy to Terapagos, or maybe even an Ursaluna. And our ace pack of choice is the Prime Catcher. Pretty self-explanatory in a deck like this, so yeah, not too much to dwell on. We also play only 1 copy of Bravery Charm. It's mostly for our Pheasantibity or Munkidori, or basically any of the other Pokemon that are not colorless, because don't forget, our Ursaluna also gets buffed with the Bouffalants, which is pretty insane. And then we play 3 copies of Area 0. So 3 copies, we want to have them out all the time. A lot of decks play Area 0 as well, so 2 might also be enough, but no, we really need to have 3 just so that we can constantly have our full bench, so that we can have Bouffalants and all the support Pokemon. And moving on to energy, we actually play quite an interesting number and choice of energies, should you say. We play 3 copies of Psychic Energy, because Lilas Clefairy needs Psychic Energy to attack. We play 2 copies of Darkness Energy, pretty simple, and actually we play 1 copy of Lightning Energy, just so that our opponents basically think that we can use the second attack as well. But if you want, you can also maybe add 1 more Crispin in and change a little bit of the energies to have the second attack on the Terapagos effective as well. And then we play 2 Jet Energy, which is also pretty nice if you want to put Terapagos in the active that has not been damaged yet. So this is basically it for this buff Terapagos list. It's pretty nice and it's actually doing quite well online and in tournaments. So let me know if you'll try it out, what would you change, and yeah, let's get the discussion rolling in the comments. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.